this was my debate, and I've come to a conclusion, I think. It was the Youth of Today Disengage 7-inch.
Or the Rain Porcel. So
well,
which one are you going? Broken Glass? Or
the drummer is sick on that. Or Sick of It All, We Stand Alone. And We Stand Alone because it has all 4 songs. Are better than the 3 songs on the... Like, Disengage itself as a song, oh my god, absolutely amazing. But it, doesn't hold up across the whole 7-inch as much as We Stand Alone does, which... What's Going On, We Stand Alone, the Minor Threat cover, Betray, and My Revenge, World Full of Hate, like... And the recording, and... I don't know,
I'd go with the District 9 7-inch.
Well, you did.
Or the Bulldog.
Well, that's your honorable mention, and that doesn't count.
So which do you choose?
The Sick of It All, We Stand Alone. The merch from that with the record cover, like, just back then, being around that, like, falling in love with Sick of It All around that time, and then, basically as... I'm totally getting tongue-tied here. Basically, they were the best live hardcore band around, and then those songs are...
I mean, you can make the claim that they
you can make that claim
circles
today
around most acts.
Yeah,
absolutely,
without a doubt, and they don't get the respect of that for good and bad, right? It's some people are like, oh, they're, I don't know, you'd probably be able to tell me about it. Are there younger kids coming up right now that are like checking for Sick of It All, or are they just like,
they're when they write records now, I mean, it's written for the crowds that they play, which is like they're hitting Europe the majority of their year, so they're playing festivals. Like, those crowds like want to jump in unison. They want like the big hooks, and they want like the big sing-alongs.
Yeah. And
like, they're not like, I mean, they're always going to be rooted, in the Lower East Side, the Alleyway Crew, like, absolutely 100%, but they're not that band anymore.
No, well, I know
so, that. Yeah, I mean, I know everyone knows that, but like, so if you're just a younger kid and, you're going and you want to hear like Clobbering Time, you want to hit it, like, you want to do everything that's on like Blood, Sweat, No Tears, or the first 7-inch.
But you're asking, do people still want to find that record, right?
Well,
or does that record still resonate with younger kids?
Well, those first 3,
like, it doesn't. Like, the early shit does, but also too, kids are data mining for the most like obscure, like, new, like, if you went to one of those like I don't know, like, maybe, I don't know the name of the fest, like Triple B does, or some of those like more fest they do on that kind of vibe, like, kids are gonna be like, I know every song to the Altercation demo, from like 87 or whatever, like Crucial Chaos NYU demo tape that they found on the internet. But it's just like, oh, do you like Just Look Around, which I think even the song Just Look Around is one of the best hardcore songs of all time. They'll be like, I don't fucking care about that. So I don't know. Like, I don't know why there's a disconnect there.
I think it's just because they've been going so long, and people, it's not special.
Yeah.
To people, and so the respect isn't given. Were you either of you at the Che show that Sick of It All played?
Yeah. No, it was the same weekend as Sound of Fury, and that was
played that.
Yeah.
No, I was up to play Sound of Fury, and that was the year that the dude did his cute little motorcycle in the pit, and it's like, so we didn't get to play, and I missed Sick of It All at the Che.
Yeah.
Fucking so shitty. But it was cool, man. Cool laps. Cool laps around the pit.
Hey, kids got to say they participated in a riot by smashing out the front door windows of some.
There was no riot at that Sound and Fury.
No, absolutely absolutely not.
That was like...
No, I hear it written as like a riot, and it's just like, dude, this isn't like seeing like Black Flag and like.
It wasn't even close to that.
Yeah,
There's
like,
no army of police.
I don't even remember anything happening.
Yo, and I know the dude who rode the bike into the spot.
Boo.
You know, and like,
Yeah. Cool, dude.
I mean, like, whatever.
So cool.
I mean, what? If you're like now, like when I look at it, I look at shit like that, and it's like, God damn it! Like, why would you do this? Like, of course, like adult security who like huge shocker here don't know anything about hardcore. That's like a big gripe I have is like hardcore kids like expecting the outside world to know the fucking ins and outs of this scene. Like, if you're an average Joe, you're like, oh, this is a fucking dude yelling in a microphone and people are hitting each other. I don't know what the fuck I'm watching. So it's like, yeah, when they see like a dude rolling with a motor, you know what? Fuck this. I'm not talking about the Sound and Fury motorcycle incident. I refuse to do this.
I'm just pissed because I missed fucking Sick of It All, the Shea Cafe.
Yeah.
That was fucking garbage. That was my weekend.
What were you guys' honorable mentions beside Bulldoze?
I went through all mine, I think. So.
I've nitpicked my 90s decades percent.
What are your honorables?
Well, the one that didn't get on because of LP, being a better product was the Count Me Out, What We Built 7-inch. Like, that band to me is very important, very amazing. Bane, surprisingly, have 3 7-inches in the 90s that are all good.
Yes.
But if they put, certain songs together, they would be like untouchable 7
No,
inches.
I'm surprised you didn't have one. And honestly, I'm not the biggest Bane fan, but if you want to talk about the importance of bands, they're kind of like another game changer. How I talked about Hatebreed was like, before Hatebreed, not a mosh part in every song. After Hatebreed, mosh part in every song. I think Bane was like the gateway to that octave core shit. Like, of all the bands having like octaves in all their songs and like really kicking down the door to, I don't know, just a genre that I don't care for that much of like, oh, every fast part is melodic.
Are we talking about sincere core?
I don't know what you call anything,
Well,
but like
build up to epic.
Yeah, it's like
proportions.
Everything is like, it's melodic on the fast verse, and then it's like, now we're heavy on the breakdown. I don't know what you call it.
Well,
I just don't like it.
Well, think about, like, Modern Life is War wouldn't exist without Bane.
Yeah.
Have Heart wouldn't exist without Bane. I mean, I like Bane, not necessarily the other two per se. Like,
no, but
you see what I mean? Like,
they're both universally recognized as great hardcore bands.
Like Superhero, that song is absolutely like unbelievable. Like, it's a very clever take on why it's thought behind straight edge. It's like saying, well,
it's an approachable straight. It's an approachable straight edge song.
Yeah, and it's very poetic at the same time, and all of this stuff. So, there's a reason that if I liked the other songs on that 7-inch more, it would be on this list, but it's not.
That song's almost good enough though to like get it on the list, and the Count Me Out song too.
Yeah, exactly.
If you put those two on the same,
Bane holding this moment, because the Count Me Out is just, I mean, the line, when you sit around and talk shit about everything you once base your whole life on, that's when you can count me out. Like,
fuck yeah,
it's amazing.
Great lyrics.
And it's just the way to state it in such a relatable way that everyone gets it, and it's like,
and not a pretentious way.
Yeah,
he's not put it out there like a better than you or anything, and it's just the way that he delivered lyrics on those records is, he's definitely a poet.
Yeah, and so that's another one, and then going in a different direction, I really loved like the bands like Anasarca and Fingerprint, like the really, really the true essence of the word screamo, not like what it's become or what alternative press makes it look like, but those real raw, like crazy pretty but hard screamy records, and Swing Kids also. Those would all be honorable mentions because it's a different path, but they don't make it to my top 5.
You're not punk enough for Swing Kids, boy.
I know.
In contrast of Sin.
Yeah, we were just talking as Zack was blowing his brains right out his fucking mouth. We were talking about a 90s honorable mention that we all agree is Integrity in contrast of Sin, but here's the thing. The 10-inch comes along. It's a very different band and it's the same band, but it's a very different sound. And, Humanity is the Devil is the high point, in my opinion. But in contrast of Sin, that 7-inch is fantastic.
In contrast of Sin is before the first LP, isn't it? So For Those Who Fear Tomorrow comes next. Yeah. And that smashes on the 7-inch.
Oh, yeah. Yes,
but I will agree.
I'm saying the high
Humanity
point
and the Devil is the
high point.
The high point is Rise. The first song on the Grey Victory album on Seasons.
Oh, I thought you were a big Integ 2K fan. Aren't you a big Integ 2K Mushroom Head?
I think I got it sent to me in the mail because I was doing my fanzine Always Try, and I got all those Victory records, and that was a bad era for Victory, 99.
Yeah,
that was terrible.
Shout out to Mushroom Head for just getting robbed by the Knot. The Knot's pretty sick, though.
Okay, so let's do 2000, 2009, and let's fly.
Fly.
I will go, and we'll just do all mine first. I'm going Striking Distance, the self-titled 7-inch. That's 2000 on Vicious Circle Records. This is partially sentimental to me because when we did our 2001 tour in Control, we didn't get to play a lot of good shows, and we got to play with Striking Distance in a basement somewhere in the DC suburbs, and it was I was just looking forward to it because I really loved the 7-inch, and I remember feeling when the 7-inch came out, it had hype that it was oh, they sound like Straight Ahead, and I don't think people talk about it like that anymore. But it was just fast and catchy and went for it and
raw.
It's raw, but it's not like a fasty.
The thing
type
that
band.
You heard about the record as it was hitting our collections over here and stuff was before you even saw them is Dave Bird is a maniac. Live, he's
Dave Bird's a maniac,
and
because they're coming out of
but it's
the post No Justice Life's Halt world too, where it's
totally.
Life's Halt, No Justice are gone, and who's the next wild man? It's fucking Dave Bird.
But also not pretentious, not thought up, not a lie. He grew up watching people throw themselves through walls while singing, and feels that way to get all of that out. He lives it completely. Shout out to Dave Bird. Best person who will do anything for you, and also just the danger. We're talking about looking at John Brennan and just watching someone real, authentic, living it. Dave Bird's the same way. You can watch him and just be man.
Grown-ass man.
There's some, grown-ass man, some demons in there, and he's really letting them out.
Shout out to my Ginger Brothers. Number 2, Striking Distance, The Fuse is Lit. This is 2002.
Awesome artwork.
Yeah, and it's just a grown ass sounding record. Like his voice is super burly now, and like the LP is sick, but the LP is just a notch slow
and a little bit too long.
Yeah,
they're a great 7-inch band.
Yeah, and well, the LP has big moments, but it's surrounded by 2 7-inches that are ridiculous. And
Mike and Eddie can really play too. Like they're
Mike,
really good.
He pushed the boundaries of like taking a simple formula, which is hardcore, one would think, and then like we were talking about like the Burns, although they don't sound anything like Burn, obviously. They're just like pushing these little boundaries.
There's a little nuance
in a straightforward
in songs.
Yeah, it's really thought out.
Well, what was great is when we would play with them, which was pretty often when they were on this coast, as well as when we would play with them on that coast. We used to cover Faith, and they covered Void, and it shows that they're a Void side
on
band.
That side, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I didn't realize when I was looking at these 2 7-inches next to each other, and the LP sandwich in between, is like their timestamp is very short. The 7-inch is 2000. The second 7-inch is 2002. I feel like
output.
it's
And
just
the
like
LP was in between, right?
yeah, and that's insane to me because like I feel like I don't know. I feel like that those 2 7-inches were like years and years apart, but it just goes to show that like
How much you played them.
well, when you're and also like when you're 20 to 22 years old, which I would have been, just that time moves slower.
Yeah.
Like now it's like, 2 years go by in the blink of an eye, and like back then it's like you're just like, I don't know, especially if you're touring, you're getting so much out of like your year, You're not like, I can't wait for this week to be over. You're like living every minute. So like time goes a little slower.
But also this is the time of the internet being applicable to hardcore, so this is the time where if you're doing well as a band, people are hearing about you more, and label people are asking you, hey, let me do a record for you. Let me do a record for
Definitely
you all the
not
time.
as streamlined, but it's like getting there.
Yeah. It's just a thing where, like, if you're a band that can write a bunch of songs, this is an era where a lot of people are willing to put stuff out for you. Whereas in the past, it would be much harder.
Yeah. Number 3 on mine is The Modern Life is War for 7-inch. The self-titled, they put it out themselves, and again, just an amazing band. We ran into them like in their infancy. They brought us out and booked us in Marshalltown, Iowa, and we were good friends with them ever since. And they were a band that came out of nowhere with there was nothing given to them. Everything they got themselves, and from making friends to just putting out really passionate, heartfelt music. And this 7-inch is a total ripper. The records go a little more in like the more emotional and build up and a little slower. And this is just like them at their rawest. Like Destination Death or Better Days, like Jesus fucking Christ, that song's a fucking ripper. Even with like the little like they're doing the thing with like the fucking the pickup switch, like going like dee 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 dee. It's like
the Unbroken thing.
Well, yeah, kind of. But I was thinking more of like a throwback to like it sounds like an Adolescence part. It's like them like just being really punk.
I bet you they probably knew it more because of Unbroken, though.
You're probably right.
The old toggle switch trick.
Yeah,
that toggle switch. Number 4.
and 2. They were a toggler. Toggle heavy.
They toggled. What year was the first AN 7-inch? You have it on your list.
Yeah.
What do you know? Year
2000.
Okay. This Modern Life is War is 2002, so quite possibly, right? Number 4, Suicide File. self-titled 7-inch?
It's on my honorable mentions. The only reason I don't think it quite got into my top 5 is just the recording of the LPs just sound so much better than the recording of the 7-inch. And although that song, the Psalm, on the 7-inch, it is unbelievably great songwriting. It's unbelievable.
I love this band's entire journey.
Yeah.
No fall off. Everything as good as the last.
And very good people.
Yes, and also just a type of genre that like I don't like another band that sounds like the Suicide File.
You know, you can't get your hands around what that genre is. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, try and really describe what that is. It's really hard.
Yeah, even though
They're
like when
pulling
you listen
from
to it, it's like
all
it's
kinds of strains.
It's mid-tempo, straightforward music, but you're right, it's something different.
Yeah.
Anyway, love it.
I feel like we're not doing the 2000s justice with your speed.
Well, we can
round.
take as much time as you guys want on yours.
No, go for it.
There was debate that this is starting to drag.
That's just like your opinion.
Thank you for sticking around.
Okay, and number 5 is the Kill Your Idol Something Started Here 5 7-inch box set.
This is such a fucking bullshit. This is such a bullshit.
I think it's a bold move to put a box set.
These are 5 of the best 7-inches of the 2000s.
This should be your only pick.
They got, dude. Honestly, this is good enough to be an only pick. But I put the other stuff on there. This has got so many good Kill Your Idol songs. It's ridiculous, and like this record is, I don't know. It's not going for that much online, so everyone should fucking get it. It's like it's the whole like span of the career, kind of the early stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's got all the big hits.
They always put on a great show. They always played a little too long.
Yeah, but they were like a legit headliner, and they loved what they did, and so
Yeah.
So
and they're great people.
I was in the interview I did with John Carrar, who was the singer of Missing 23rd. I don't know how familiar you guys were with those guys.
Yeah.
I asked him. I was like,
They played the No Reply last show with both of us.
Sure. So they toured a lot. And I asked him, when you did this band, like, did you have a purpose for, like, wanting to go out so much? And different bands have different purposes. Like, In Control was legitimately to put Nard on the map. And, like, you know, other people go out because it's fun, or they want to make money, or they don't want to work a real job, or whatever. And all these reasons are legitimate, I think. Like, I don't give a fuck why you want to do it. However, for whatever reason you want to do it, it's fine. And John's answer to me was, this is my favorite thing to do. There's nothing that I like more than playing music. And I can't do that every night in my hometown because people are going to get burnt the fuck out on seeing my band. I can't play here 7 nights a week. I can't give that many shows. So I have to tour. And I feel like that was Kill Your Idols. That's why they toured all the time. And that's why they played. They weren't a band like trying to get like the hype of, we're going to come out there and play 8 songs and leave the kids wanting more. Because they were like playing every fucking butthole in America and giving them that set every night. Like they're going out and they're giving you their set. So like it wasn't necessarily like it's a hard balance, right? When you're in a band of like, how much am I doing this for myself and how much am I doing this for the kids that paid at the door? You know, and I think that like they wanted to play a lot of songs.
That would make sense because I forgot his name, but I think he's playing in Sheer Terror, right? He's playing guitar for whatever current
the
version
guitarist
of
did.
Sheer Terror.
Yes, Paul.
Yeah, and that makes sense because it's like Sheer Terror is on that same vibe of like we are going to every butthole and we're going to play our like long ass set.
This band
just, you know,
really, that's the Blackout Records world.
That whole
they carried that
100%.
part of New York on completely. But they would be on a tour with Face to Face, and then next thing they'd be on a tour with like a Sheer Terror, and then next thing they'd be with Millencolin or something. You know, they just were one of those bands that booking agents knew yeah, we can throw these guys on that and they'll go.
Yeah, I love that band so much, and like that's like one of my bigger like punk rock hardcore regrets is like not staying in touch with those guys.
Well, I would say they're very Oxnard-esque from another part of the country.
Yeah, I love them, like personal level, musical level, everything. So they get 5 fucking records for the 2000s.
Cool.
It's all part of a box set. All right, moving on. Daniel,
are we just doing all of our 5s now?
do your 5 and we can chat about them.
Okay. So I've got a 3-way tie coming in at number 5.
Jesus.
The No Warning 7-inch.
Yes.
Cold World Ice Grills.
Okay.
And the No Reply Life's Halt split.
Okay. What side of the... Who wins the No Reply Life's Halt split?
No Reply.
Agreed. But as a band, Life's Halt.
Not to me. But, I mean, give me Dave Weinberg, I'm happy. But then, John is so rad, and, you get Felix with both. But Weinberg's just on stage is amazing, and it comes through on the records. Mm-hmm. How funny he was and is.
I think the Cherry Coke song is the only song that didn't make it off the demo onto vinyl.
Yeah, and for obvious reasons. The No Warning 7-inch, actually, I've got to add one more to this. Is the Terror Push It Away 7-inch too.
Is that just the two songs?
2 song 7-inch, yeah, because...
Is that Radio Takeover, or was it...
It's on Takeover Records, yeah. The Terror and the No Warning, it's obviously the... this is what's coming down the pipe,
Yeah.
But I fucking love it. Yeah. I mean, if we want to talk about 7-inches getting crushed by the LP, obviously Ill Blood destroys the 7-inch, but the 7-inch...
Well, and the Terror, the songs are on the record.
On Lowest of the Low, yeah. So, those are, I really love all those records. But coming in at number 4, Carry On, Roll With the Punches. Absolutely love this 7-inch. The songs on it are fantastic. The shows around the time were really, really great. This is before the LP and the hype really started. These songs are so good, and I think it's even though people jock the LP so much more, I think this is the high point of them functioning as a band. They were really good live. Depending which day you caught Todd on, could be the most fun-loving guy or the most just angriest person in America. But it channels through the songs really well, the fun-loving and the anger together. And I just think it's a perfect 7-inch. I think the artwork is fantastic. By Brian at Spotlight Tattoo.
Brian Burke.
Yep. And moving on, In Control, The Nard Curse.
Next.
It seriously
give it to him.
Is an amazing 7-inch, and it's one of the bands that really absolutely the heart comes through in the songs more than anything. And it's also, you said it was important for you to put Oxnard on the map. I mean, It's imprinted in every single song on the 7-inch. And it makes you unify with Oxnard, and it made San Diego and Oxnard so fucking tight. Like, unbelievably, it was a weird kinship there that we skipped Orange County and LA, and just, it was the two outlying towns.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It definitely does.
And just the fact that, you know, when you're talking about the best DNA of a hardcore song, the In Control songs are perfect. Ring out fast, then, you know, kind of mid-tempo into super fast, into a fucking killer breakdown. The formula is pretty damn perfect.
And you're also just going for it, too. Throwing in something that someone would be like, you can't put in a little hook here or
well, I remember always being up front, and, you know, I invariably would be wearing a baseball hat. And every time, hats off to the jockers and the haters. I'd always take my hat off and make sure Ryan gave me the mic on that part. And the great thing is, like, Ryan's vocals are manic over such controlled, great music, and it rides the flow so well. So, absolutely love that 7-inch. Then next, The Promise, My True Love. Speaking of Syracuse coming back hard, and
shout out to Busky.
So is this the demo and as a 7-inch release?
Yeah. I don't know if it was re-recorded or not. I'm not sure about that, so that's why it's definitely in there. But I mean, another strike in the face for me of like, oh my god, I'm fucking psyched to be straight edge, because it's talking about it in a way that gets down to the core without it being, you know, my true love.
Yeah, you're also fast, but a lot of cool layers of stuff going on. A lot of good mix.
Very post-burn.
Yeah.
Post-burn.
I don't know if it's on this record or not, but when they do that chromatic scale breakdown.
Oh, da, 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 da.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, like, how did I not think of that?
Hey, at the end of this podcast, you need to just, like, cut out every single mouth riff that we have done.
Do a mega mix.
Yeah. Oh, you think I edit this? Let's bounce up that Patreon and I'll fucking edit this.
Yeah. But also the way the Promise stuff looked was, you know, very almost like medieval emblazoned X's riding into battle, you know, with eagles and I don't know.
Totally Busky's style of design.
Without a doubt. Yeah. I mean, it's fantastic, and that record, I put it on in the build up to this, and Jesus Christ, that really holds up. And then number 1, American Nightmare, self-titled 7-inch. Absolute game changer. Absolute amazing collection of songs. There's a lot of people that will like the second AN 7-inch more because it's a bit faster, a bit raw. And it's also, while they were pretty much the biggest band in hardcore, was when that second 7-inch came out. But the first one, the way it opens in the middle, it's got the thing that goes over it to hold it, you know, the two pieces together. Everything about it is just so well done. And those lyrics, I mean, this day and age when there's in a post-Wes in hardcore world where many, many people have tried writing those, I don't know, suicide note lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing like it before, though. There was really nothing that really captured that poetry and the desperation and, I mean, that 7-inch. And then, of course, you've got Stand Hard and him, like, dueling vocals on the last song, which really gives it its own, you know, Right Brigade and American Nightmare together, kind of kings of that era at that time. But I really think, because you think back to like background music being, oh, does that come along and crush the 7-inches? I don't think so. It's a very different. It's an evolving beast at that time. So that era of the 2000 7-inch is its kind of own era, and the way that Tim Bomb was writing songs coming out of 10-Yard Fights, writing these very open gate, like crazy ring out, like.
Does anyone think that the LP crushes the 7-inches?
Oh, I think a lot of people do. I mean, the LP's got the like, tell the boys I'll see them soon. All those like the LP, crazy emotional.
The LP is my favorite, but I think mostly the LP is my favorite for a reason that, if anything, people don't like the LP as much. I love that his fucking vocals are like 11 on like the like level. Like, for something to be that extreme sounding and then to hit that level of popularity is fucking awesome. Because I would say that would be the only knock on a lot of that late 90s like comeback straight edge stuff, is the vocals got so safe. Like, there wasn't like yelling and shouting. It was just like kind of everything was like talking.
They didn't want to be metal. So they were being very controlled in the vocals, but Porter's voice is very high pitched against the thing.
That's why it was cool, is because he sounded a little different, because he had like a high voice.
He cut through.
But a lot of those voices were just like, a lot of the people, they kind of seemed like they were the friend of the band, and like the talent. Where in the 80s, it was like the singer is one of the most skilled guys in the band.
Yeah,
and then it was really neat that Ian. I was never a huge Ian fan, but I just love that. Well, that like he it's like it goes so hard on the LP, like without his voice.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. The desperation that is in the lyrics. If you read the lyrics, there's a lot of absolute desperation. I don't know what to do with my life. I don't even know if I want to live type shit. It's reflected so well in the vocals of like, this is my fucking, I'm pouring every single thing out.
Yeah, it's like, how did you not blow your fucking voice out?
Yeah, and I mean we toured with them two or three times, and yeah, his voice would get blown out like crazy, because
I love that sound.
It,
I love that sound of his voice on the LP. But the 7-inches are very good too. Yeah. I don't know why it didn't resonate with me at the time.
Because you were anti-hype at the time.
Too cool.
No, not too cool. You were...
never
you were
cool
like...
enough, actually.
No, it was more like, why does everyone like this? I'm looking for something different. I mean, you and I would talk all the time around that time, and you would roll your eyes at a lot of stuff back then, and I would too, but I mean, I was pretty posse. I was pretty like, I love everything.
I think it can kind of be like you're a local band in the area, and you're fucking putting it out there for your scene, right? Like you're hoisting the flag, you're charging, you're doing it, you're putting it on the map, and it's like, it's kind of a hard pill to swallow, because it's like, you're playing your own area and you have your diehard scene that fucks with you, right? And then, hype regional band comes through and it's like 300 kids out of nowhere. And you're like, wait, most of these are from my hometown. It's like, where the fuck are you at like other shows, and not just your own band shows, but it's like how can you just come in for like, hey, this is what you're supposed to like
and
right
lose
now.
Your shit.
And lose your fucking shit.
Yeah.
And you know where these venues are. And then you're just like, yeah, but I don't give a fuck about my like local scene. And when you're a part of a local scene and you're just like giving it your all and you're putting on shows and you're like, you and your friends have bands, but you're supporting each other and like you're in it and you're doing it. And then it's just like, well, fuck, how come like, where's the rest of like my town? So it's a hard pill to swallow.
Well, I think
doing that.
Yeah, I think we always felt that about In Control. It's like, here's a band.
Well, this is going in a silly. This is going in a silly direction.
Yeah.
No, because you're just embarrassed about talking about it. But
no. Because it was that what the. Okay.
No, I mean, someone giving you props, you're like,
no. But Me liking American Nightmare or not would not be affected by like them being popular, like coming through.
Oh, I'm not saying that. I'm saying my of liking certain bands and tapping into exactly what Greg's saying, seeing certain bands come through and get these insane reactions, but then go, yeah, but fucking In Control should get this.
Yeah.
Just the same.
Okay, but see, here's the thing. I think American Nightmare is a band that I've always been able to pull myself back from and say, like, there is something to that band.
Without
right?
doubt.
Like a Bane, right? As another one. People. And you know the other one it's a weird. This is another weird one. It's kind of like an Ignite kind of now. Is do you remember how huge Death by Stereo was?
Yeah.
Like in the first run, and like they would play, and people would be like going nuts, and they were like people would claim they're the greatest band and this and that, and they were kind of like that for me in that it didn't resonate with me. I didn't really understand it, but I could look at it and be like, dude, they're a pretty fucking great band. Like they're doing something really interesting.
Yeah.
And they're good.
And they're really good musicians.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And like
full guitar players.
Yeah, and I think that's I would lump like the AN and the Bane and them in like that.
I would the AN and the Bane, and when they came to the West Coast, you know, it's burgeoning internet. There's a lot of hype. There's also a lot of mystery still, you know, especially for AN, that, you know, and then the lyrics are very like that. And it just was, everything was hitting at the right time. The reference points, like, I mean, they were all decked out, Cro-Mags, Age of Quarrel, blah, 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 but they sounded like they sounded. And it was hitting on everything and all at the right time, and it was for real. Like, you watched Wes perform, and it was fucking for real.
Every time I saw them, they were great, you know, and fucking brilliant idea with like that loop thing they did like during the tuning and shit, so they didn't have to talk. Yeah. Like, how did it take fucking
20 plus years?
20 years of hardcore before someone came up with that idea.
That loop pedal.
Yeah. It's like fucking A.
And that's why I'm saying the toggle, because they would have that loop going and then cut into it, and then boom, straight into another song. Like, yeah, really, really good. All right, Greg.
Okay, so you guys pretty much covered the early aughts.
Yes.
A lot of it. So I'm coming in kind of right after this stuff is ending. But I got some residual left over, and this is on some Chula Vista shit, but Piece by Piece, Written in Blood.
The time I write, I'll die trying. I run through life, picking up everything I can to fight from being torn down. All I do is fight.
Obviously, there's the song "Place That Hurts," which I think is one of my top hardcore songs ever, and that thing is just dripping with just like, yeah, it's just back to that whole like going back to like fast, like just.
Is this the first 7-inch?
I think it's the second one.
Second one.
Yeah, and then
the one with the screwdriver.
No, that's the first one. That's the We've Lost It All.
No, the first 7-inch is.
No, or the We've Lost It All.
It's the white one.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
with the maroon.
Yeah. So then, which this ties into another thing is Internal Affairs, Casualty of the Core. And that's mostly because you got a straight edge band playing like hard, fast fuck, and it's scary. It's not posy. Like Corey is like you're going up to sing along, you're getting punched in the mic. So if you're just like an angry straight edge kid, like this is fucking it. And it's like they could like hold their own against like all these other scary bands. I even feel like they scared a lot of like straight edge kids too. Like just something back to that super.
And they had the most
fast
posy dudes in the band other than Corey, which is weird, you know? They got Andy and Dennis.
I also like on that 7-inch, like it fucking sounds like the recording is clipping. Like it just adds to the just like the blaring, just like assault of it.
Dennis is playing in that the one with Andy Strife, the Birdhold City now.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So then
and A-Clip too,
and A-Clip, and now Ito as well.
Yeah.
That's a fucking band, dude.
It's a friend Stragranza.
Yeah.
And then for my third, it's gonna be 86 Mentality with Going Nowhere Fast.
Ooh, good one.
I like that band a lot. In my Jaded period, that's a band that I was like,
yes.
They come out, and I mean, like, that 7-inch is the fucking soundtrack to a riot. Like, it's got your sing-along. It's just like...
and what a great band name.
Perfect name.
Yes.
Perfect, just like this hard DC shit coming through. And then also the effect and like legacy of that band now, which, holy shit, that band pretty much like, you know, I might catch flack for that, like totally influenced that whole new wave of British hardcore. Like definitely 86 and and some of the Boston bands too, like the newer Boston bands, like totally brought like the UK to start making that type of hardcore. Because I remember when we first hit the UK in like 2011, like that type of hardcore was fucking not being played over there. So
yeah.
So I would say I can't find a fucking flaw on that thing. That thing is just another ripper from start to finish.
That's a great one.
Yeah, very, very influential, still holds up, and kids are still losing their shit to it, and it's influencing bands all the time. And then what would be number 4? I'm going to go with Downpresser, Age of Ignorance.
Love it.
Won't make up forever. Shoot first, ask questions never. Do you split and tell the truth? Yeah, whatever. Underhanded cover-ups, top secret classified. Scapegoat, clearing his throat. 2 faces tell more lies.
And that's, you have like right around like Santa Barbara, Nard area, you know, Retaliate's popping off, Vendetta's popping off. Violation pops off, and Violation quickly kind of becomes like this, you know, force to be reckoned with, especially for us. Like they dropped that demo in 06, and then they do the Possess 7-inch, which was an honorable mention. I just fucking hate the recording quality on it, so I just can't give it that. But then you have Downpresser, which is there, but they're like Brass Monkey, and they're like Don't Be a Menace before that, and they didn't really have...
Yeah, and then I named them Bricklayer. And they should have stuck with it. That's a sick-ass name, dude. So, for how hard they sound,
yeah,
you know?
Okay, so I remember, like...
But that's a rock and jock softball name, because I watch a lot of MTV.
So I remember playing with them, instantly connecting with them immediately, and then they put out that 12-inch EP, Perverted Justice, and that was on Todd's label, Street Sweeper or whatever. And it was just like, instantly, they just tightened everything up. And it just had like everything. It was fast. It was hard, but it wasn't like dumb hard and dumb heavy.
No.
Which this is kind of a switch around in like the mid O's, because like you get like Terror pops off, and then you just get a lot of like gnarly LA shit, which is just, you know, like my comment, it's like new era hats and like tall white tees.
Donnie Brutt.
Yeah, and like you're getting smoked, and like I liked all those bands, but it was just like, oh fuck, if I go to these shows, like I might like literally get leveled out, because kids were getting fucking like smoked at these things. Like young ass kids were getting like destroyed. But it definitely brought that like element of danger, like you wanted to like peer above someone's head to like see what you were looking at. But like you wanted hard stuff, but you also wanted it fast. Like you wanted the lyrics to be, dare I say, like a little smarter, a little more thought put into it.
No, he's a great lyricist.
Dan is
like,
one of my like top lyricists in hardcore.
Yeah, he
100%.
sneaks in little things like how you were talking about Aaron Knuckles getting away with some stuff that you think like only he could do. Dan has like certain things he puts in there as well. Like God, what's the one hook, and he ends it with like yeah whatever. Yeah, and it was like what. You know, like
that's on the Age of Ignorance.
Okay.
7-inch. So Age of Ignorance, like there's like a switch in the sound where it gets like definitely more metal edge. I mean, they already had it, but like I love the production. I love like the kick drum is thick as hell.
The other thing that is unique about that band is they don't follow a formula of songwriting where they don't have like there's no chorus.
It's
it's
like
just part
riffs. Yeah, Sean's and it makes sense because Sean is a drummer.
Yeah,
plays guitar, can kind of like write everything too. So they're a force and
sick boogie boarder too.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't say enough about them, and I would say, and anyone asks me like, what's your Southern California hardcore band? Like, I gotta say them because I think they're the perfect mix of like fast, heavy, hard,
Central California,
but thought out lyrics. You know,
it starts at Oxnard. We're a Central California band.
So that's
Santa Barbara, definitely. Santa Barbara County line is Central.
Yeah, they're the shit, and I just love that 7-inch. And I'm gonna say my number one is gonna be Bitter End, Mind in Chains.
Locked out, nothing to prove. Wanna be the judge? Well, here I stand. The verdict's handed down. Surrounded by sin, couldn't turn it around. I'm guilty.
And the main reason for that too is it's another one of these records that comes out where it's hard, it's fast, sing-alongs galore, has all the energy behind it, but Daniel Rosen, sick lyricist, like just kind of like the perfect package. And it definitely made it kind of like did like a switch up because I remember you had what you referred to as like octave core, and then in the early 2000s you had like the explosion of just like melodic straight edge bands, and then like for me that was getting boring. That sounded boring. I was like, where's that speed? Where's that aggression? You know, so it's like
you don't think that 7-inch got stepped on by the LP?
That's what I was gonna say.
Oh, I would say like Climate of Fear is dope, but
it was your first introduction, so it hit hard.
It hit hard as fuck. I actually prefer it over Climate of Fear because what smokes Climate of Fear is fucking Guilty as Charged, and that goes into the tens. But that's one of my like top 10 hardcore records of all time is Bitter End's Guilty as Charged. That thing is just like from start to finish, banger, certified. But Mind in Chains is just that perfect mix of like stripped down, songs are short. Because Climate of Fear, like I would say some of the songs started to drag a little long. But right there, they're just like hitting it like all cylinders. And once again, it's like you can go to the show, mosh hard, like sing along, but like there wasn't like this like hard ass, huge tough guy ego thing with them. Same thing with Downpresser. Like a lot of these bands are just like kids that are rooted in a lot of good shit, want to play hard, but don't also want to be into this ridiculous like beat down shit where it's just like, it's just gratuitous violence and there's no point for it other than to like shut down a venue and beat up a child in a parking lot and his mom's gonna have to pick him up, which was a lot of
that
the
was
shit
an awful lot of what was going on.
It was just a lot of the shit that like we were dealing with too. Like on the prior podcast, like you guys are talking about like, oh, who did hardcore kids beef with? Maybe other subcultures or other not like Nazis or whatever in the 90s. Like my generation of hardcore kids is beef with hardcore kids. Like,
well, when they
that's all it was. Like it was just like different styles. Oh, we don't fuck with that style. Or
people
it's like,
talk shit on the internet.
Yeah, it was just like a lot of self
gangs come into hardcore.
There's a lot of
need more Unity songs. Yeah. Write more Unity songs.
Yeah, there's a lot of like self cannibalization.
It never gets fucking old. What's that Instead lyric? Like it's on the last record. People say just another Unity song. I say the more the better. To us, they are wrong. Like that's fucking ill.
Yeah.
I'm not condemning those who choose metal riffs or write lyrics that don't make any sense. Instead, we'll stay the same as before. As long as we're together and putting out core. All right, we wrap.
That's it. And
any honorable mentions?
I don't know. I kind of gave a listen to things that I thought sounded good, and I was like, oh, this shit does not hold up.
What are your honorable mentions?
Well, Retaliate did never put out a 7-inch until the 10s? What do you call them?
The 10s.
I'm just referring
the 10s. 2014. Yeah. So I can do my 2010s really quick. Retaliate. Self-titled 7-inch. 2014.
I got
And
no
take
problems
offense.
with that, you know.
No, I'm just playing. It was a throwaway.
And I might say now that 7 inches are not a popular format with my generation because they are way too fucking expensive to press now.
Yeah.
So bands are, it's either digital or the dreaded cassette.
But you know what? It's
they're just
the
so
perfect,
expensive.
Yeah, I understand. But it is the perfect way to encapsulate what a core band's offering should be.
Absolutely.
I don't know, dude. I hate the format now. I don't like it.
What was your?
I don't want to flip records, and I'm kind of down with a higher barrier to entry of like the bands that do records now. It's like because it's too easy to record now. It's too easy to put out digital, and it's like
I
don't know.
It's not easy to put out a 7-inch.
No, I know. So
Hey,
let's
how
jump
much-
straight to 12-inch EP.
When you put out your first 7-inch, all right, how much did it cost you? What year was it? How much did it cost you?
1996.
Okay.
And I cannot remember, but under $1 a record.
Okay.
I
So
think-
how
I
many
think.
how many did you press?
300.
300.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And that means it was more expensive than pressing
the
like
first
500 or what.
the first
per
7-inch
piece.
I ever pressed was Cusano and I did the Mind Disease Records thing, and we put out the first Cold Stare 7-inch. And
Which rules?
That's super debatable.
I like it.
But anyways,
I'm trying to think of the song. Me and Matt listened to like the one of the songs like 6 times in a row once.
Hell yeah.
Cracking up.
but we pressed 200 7-inches, right? Because we were like, oh, we're just making this for like
Friends.
San
and the
Diego
scene.
thing. If we sell 200 of things, like that would be sick. And so this was 2007, I believe that's when it came out, or it might have been 2008, and that cost us, when it was all said and done, for 200 7-inches. And I mean, I think it was 600 to make, just the records themselves.
And the labels.
And the labels, which we had to get the labels made somewhere else and then send it, do all that shit. And then even when everyone was just like, oh, you just go to Kinko's or whatever and like make these things on cardstock, like that shit was fucking expensive. This is all black and white. So all said and done, 200 7-inches was like a G out the door. And we sold them for like $5. So like, yeah, cool, we broke even, that's great that we managed to move 200 of these 7-inches. But it's like, you can't expect.
Did you want 200 Somali Pirate 7-inches?
Damn. You can't expect kids to be like, oh, hey, like, we're going to fucking plunk down. And that's for 200 7-inches. I don't even think those pressing plants even do. If they do micro runs, they're going to be way more expensive.
Well, that's a really small press. I've never done a press that small because, like, yeah, you used to have to do at least 300 or you're getting raped.
Yeah, I'm amazed that we were even able to have them, humor us with 200 7-inches.
Well, if those kids that want a jock looking like, they're the altercation, whatever, they better be prepared to jock the format too.
That's right, baby.
My honorable mentions for this era: Cold World, Ice Grills, or did I include that as my?
You did. It
was
was
like a tie.
tied for number 5.
Hope Conspiracy, File 003. That amazing 7-inch that came out right on the heels of Code Blue, and Mental, Get an Oxygen Tank.
All really good.
And I'm sure there's a ton that I'm missing, but
The legacy of Ice Grills too is still felt to this day.
But no one can do it like them.
Cool.
No.
You guys good?
Well, I would like to say support the Patreon, rate and review, support 185 Miles South.
Yeah, give them.
Do you feel like you've been well represented?
Give them a couple bucks?
Yeah,
so we
I didn't
can
get
at
my
least
well
edit these
represented
things.
question. No, I don't, because I think the Gorilla Biscuits 7-inch got shit on by you two. I don't know why.
No, okay.
And then also, I don't think I did a good enough representation of those Earth Crisis 7-inches, so I implore the listenership to listen to both of those 7-inches and just fucking love it.
Okay, 2 things. First off, I think the Earth Crisis thing was the longest single segment on here. It got very good representation.
I'm saying I don't think I verbalized it well enough.
No, it's sick, and it's so palatable now. They You can get that record on the Rev in the Rev distro.
Yeah, as a double-sided 12.
Yeah, RevHQ.com. It's a double-sided 12-inch. One's on each side. Jesus. What was the other thing you were saying?
DRI sucks.
Wait. This is a segue. Wait. It's coming right here.
All right, I respect it. Kid vocals.
No, you said the Earth Crisis, and in the GB you thought it got shat on, but it didn't. It didn't.
It was being a bit facetious. It was facetious.
It was your rule that if the LP smashes a 7-inch, it doesn't get chosen, and that was a perfect example of an LP smashing a 7-inch.
I think this ties in with toys because GB has made several toys. You work at a toy store. There has not been a Judge action figure made, so.
Well, they've hit us up.
And also, this is how I wanted Don to get grumpy, like me getting grumpy on those answers.
Yeah.
You blew it, dude.
Capiche?
Okay, see you guys.